All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Google Hangout for the October webinar on how CRCC Asia places its interns. My name is Mike Moen, and I am the U.S. Regional Manager for CRCC Asia. I've been working for the company for about 2 years now. Some of you might recognize me. I conduct a lot of the interviews for our North and South American offices. I also have quite a bit of experience in the field of international education. I started off my experiences internationally as an undergrad at CSU Chico, and then from there I also worked internationally in about 3 different continents in about 8 different countries. So very excited to be working now for CRCC Asia and helping students go international, and looking forward to discussing some of our topics today, including how we place interns. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go share our fields here. All right. So this webinar today is going to cover a wide range of opportunities about how we place our interns, and how we and what steps it takes to become a CRCC Asia intern. So one of the things that we've created to assist students with this whole process is our CRCC Asia application process PDF. And this is something that you will receive once you apply to the program. It'll kind of give you a breakdown of what to expect, and it's kind of a little chart, a flow chart to assist you with the whole process. So as we scroll down here, obviously the first step in becoming a CRCC Asia intern is to go ahead and apply. It's very easy to apply. It only takes a few minutes, and the best part about it is it's completely free. So head on over to crccasia.com/apply and go ahead and answer a few of the short questions that are on the application. These questions will ask you just a few things about your interest in working in China and living in China. Also, it's important to remember that we are going to ask you for your resume, so please make sure you have that readily available. Now, you do have 2 options in applying for CRCC Asia. One is online via a computer or via your mobile device. If you do apply via your mobile device, it'll ask you a few generic questions, and then you'll be receiving an email about 1 to 2 days later asking you to submit your resume to your regional office. And I'll provide a list of our regional offices once we get closer to the end of the program. So within about 24 hours of receiving your application, we will get in touch with you to possibly schedule a phone interview if we'd like to move forward. And these phone interviews are generally conducted within about 48 hours of your application. Generally 1 to 3 business days is a little bit safer way of kind of saying that. If you live in North or South America, you be doing it myself or one of our other representatives from the San Francisco office. There are quite a few things you should keep in mind, though, when applying for the program, and these are some of our application requirements. So although we encourage everyone to apply, there are a few requirements we'd like people to keep in mind. You must be years of age or older at the time of participating on the program. You must speak English fluently. A lot of people find that interesting. That is our only language requirement. All of our supervisors that we work with are English speaking, so there's no need to know Mandarin. Obviously, knowing the language does help, but it's not a requirement for the program. Be either currently enrolled or have graduated from university. Also, for those of you at community colleges or junior colleges, that counts as well, so that's very exciting. You need to have an interest and passion for working overseas and experiencing new cultures. You need to qualify for all visa and embassy regulations through your region's Chinese consulate. Here at CRCC Asia, we do have offices worldwide, 3 offices in Europe, 3 offices in North America, an office in Australia, as well as 4 offices in China. So please be sure to contact your regional office if you have any questions about your passport and seat. And then also you need to meet all application deadlines. Although our applications do stay open for up to 1 month before each program start date, it's best to apply at least 3 to 6 months before your desired program start date. This does allow us enough time to get things processed and to also allow us to properly work on your visa and placement process. But please make sure to contact your regional office if you have any questions about applying close to a program start date. All right, so now we'll head back over to the wonderful flow chart we have available. So your interview will take place and we'll discuss quite a few different things. Your interview will take about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll be looking at your suitability for the program, why you're interested in interning in China, your relevant past working experience, and volunteer experience. We know that a lot of you, this might be your first time gaining professional work experience in an environment. So we will be asking you about your volunteer experience or maybe past coursework. And if you don't have any past work experience on your resume, it's really important to list that volunteer and or coursework you've completed thus far at your university. You'll also be talking about your interest for China and the specific industry you applied for. And this is also a really great time for you to pick our brains. Most of the people that have conducted the interviews have worked and lived in China or overseas. Also, some of them have just recently traveled to China over the summer months to assist our teams there, just like myself. So some things to consider when applying or when preparing for your interview. There's some great questions here you can write down. You can also find these on our website under our resources tab, so there's no need to try to write these all down today. But you really want to focus on these 3 main bullet points: your sector choices, your work environment, and your motivations. So for your sector choices, what role would you like to perform in your internship? To you, what does your internship look like? This is really important when you're applying for some of our broader sectors, such as business and NGOs. For example, in business, we work from everything from entrepreneurial type startups to major corporations. With NGOs, we work with everything from orphanages to chambers of commerce, like the American Chamber of Commerce. Also, with your working environment, are you really interested in working in a Chinese environment to maybe challenge your language abilities? Do you want to, is the placement more important or is the city more important? Are you really going for that cultural aspect that kind of touches on your motivations? Also, for your motivations, is it important that you're learning more about your sectors or boosting your resume or learning once again about the important business culture of China? These are all things that you're going to want to tell your interviewer about, and the interviewer will ask you about during your interview to gain this better profile of who you are as an applicant. All right, so now we'll head back over to the PDF and we'll scroll on down. So once your interview is conducted, once again, as I mentioned, you do have that opportunity to pick the interviewer's brain, and we really encourage you guys to do that. These guys are generally China experts and are a great way for you to learn more about China and working and living in that wonderful country. So about 1 week after your interview, you'll receive an update about your acceptance decision. And if all goes well, hopefully you've been accepted to the program. You'll be notified via email for sure, and hopefully a phone call if we have time. We do like to make phone calls. It's a pretty exciting moment for us and for you as an applicant. So, we do try to make that phone call, but you will definitely receive an email within 1 week's time of your acceptance to the program. And then from 1 week from there, you'll be asked to submit a deposit. This deposit is used to secure your position on the program. We are a program that does fill up. We are very popular in the last 6 years. We've sent over 5,000 students to China. So, our programs do fill up very quickly. So getting that deposit in is really important. It does secure your spot and it guarantees you an internship within your sector choices. So to submit your deposit, you can do that by calling our regional offices, or you can do it online as well. Your offer letter will kind of go into more detail about what you can expect from your internship, what more about your sector and the city you're going to be participating in, as well as some of the other opportunities that CRCC Asia offers, including our very popular backpacking program, where you do a 1 to 2 month internship followed by a 20-day, 4,000-mile journey through China. So from there, after you submit that deposit, we start getting to work for you. CRCC Asia begins confirming your accommodations and begin organizing your placements. We do this by confirming our accommodations. We put a hold down, and what our accommodations are centrally located in the city. Most students have anywhere between a half hour to 45-minute commute via public transportation. All of our accommodations are Western style. Every student has their own private bedroom with a shared living space. Your utilities are paid for, including your kind of like TV and internet. And like I said, it is generally close to most of our internships, depending on your sector, which we can talk about a little bit more later. Now, in terms of your placement, organizing your placement, this is when our teams and our regional offices start handing over your placement to our China teams. So in each one of our China offices, we have what's called a business development manager. And what they do, we have a team of them in each office, about anywhere between 3 to 6 of them. These are called what we like to call at CRCC Asia BDMs. These individuals are responsible for maintaining and developing our business relationships with host companies. They also oversee the placement of interns on our programs for our over 500 host companies that we work with across 15 different sectors. So each one of our BDMs specialize in a variety of sectors in order to locate the best opportunities for each one of our interns. And then as we move along here a little bit, about 3 months before your program start date, your final payment would be due. And this is your final confirmation to participation on the program. And it's really when the ball starts really get rolling on your visa, the final accommodation reservations, your final program logistics, and most importantly, your placement. So our teams in China have, once again, back to our BDMs. What they do is all the information that our regional managers collected during the interview process are put into a profile, in a sense, or into our database that our BDMs have access to. And what they do is our BDMs will have weekly meetings to assess which host companies they feel best fit this new group of future interns. And so they'll sit down and they'll pick about 3 to 5 host companies that will be selected as host companies, with 1 or 2 as a target, as a kind of a goal for that individual intern. The BDM will then begin to contact those various companies to arrange a time for them to sit down and discuss with the supervisors the intern's potential with that host company, kind of discussing what the intern's interests are and what opportunities are available to those host companies. So after those meetings, about a few weeks later, there will be the host companies will get back to our BDMs saying, yes, we would love to accept that intern, or unfortunately we're full at this time, or maybe they'll suggest they want to host the intern, but maybe a different type of role. So it's the BDM's responsibility then to sort through those various offers by referencing the notes collected during the interview, your application, and your resume to select the internship that they feel, with their professional opinion, is the best fit for you based on the information that we've collected. Some of the host companies, however, can be a little slower than others, and if they are a target company, then your placement may be delayed slightly. And if that does occur, they'll be sure to notify our regional managers. The BDMs will be sure to notify our regional managers to get in touch with that certain intern to inform them of what's going on, letting them know that it may be delayed slightly. However, this doesn't happen that often, as we are able to work with the host companies and meet those deadlines, but it is something we'd like to make you aware of. So what happens is once those host companies get back to us, 2 routes can occur. One is the opportunity that we were pursuing, that 1 or 2 target host company gets back to us and they're excited to take the intern, and we send their invitation letters and we send the visa processing packets and everything to our interns, or there's not a viable option available at that moment, and so we're reevaluating and reassessing, and once again that's notified to our regional managers, who will pass that on to our interns. So from there, once this whole process is occurring, we ask you to just really stay in touch. Between that 3 months and 6-week deadline, we ask you that you stay in touch. You'll be periodically receiving some pre-departure packets. and Chinese culture and language guide from our CRCC Asia regional offices. Also, about 2 months before the start of the program, you'll get in touch with our various visa agents who will begin the preliminary documentation for your visa by filling out your visa application, collecting your passport scans and your passport pictures in order to make sure that everything's ready to go for as soon as that host company guarantees your internship. We're able to immediately process your visa and get you going as quickly as possible. So then hopefully right around 6 to 8 weeks, it does depend on the host companies, but generally around 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to receive your internship placement. And this is a really exciting time for everyone, especially for our regional offices and also our China teams. A lot of work has gone into finding this internship for you, and we're really excited to share that with you. So our regional manager, that would be myself, or in the UK, that's Kathy, or in Australia, it's another Mike named Michael Benson. They'll notify you via email and or phone call, but definitely by email. You can expect a few items in this placement email. It's a really important one. Like I said, we're really excited to send it to you. We like to call these our CISs, or our company information sheets. It's an in-depth description of the company, your general job description, your supervisor's name and contact information. Also, it gives you a little bit of extra information like the closest public transit stop to your office, from the accommodations to your office, also any other relevant information. Also included in that packet will be your invitation letter, or as we like to call our IV letters. This is a really important letter from the host company required by the Chinese government for visa processing. It's inviting you to China to do your internship and telling the consulate, what you'll be doing there so you can get the proper visa for your internship in China. So the completed visa packet will be sent to you about 1 to 3 days later after you've received your placement. This is really specific to the US and Canada only, as we are able to process all visas for US and Canadian individuals living in that area. Like I said once before, please contact your regional office for exact visa processing and visa assistance procedures. But for US and Canada, we do process those for you. All right. And so back over to our wonderful PowerPoint. So about 1 month before your departure, you can expect to receive your visa. It's generally about 2 weeks or about 10 business days after your placement, with normal processing procedure that you'll receive your visa. If your placement is slightly delayed, we will try to do expedited processing if it's available, so you could receive your visa in a quicker amount of time, but generally the fee covers a normal processing, which is about 10 business days. All right, so we head on down. About 2 weeks before your departure, we'll ask you to send your flight and insurance details. This is really important so we can pick you up at the airport. We do offer airport pickup for all of our participants. And then 1 week before, CRCC Asia will confirm, you have final confirmation of your accommodation details. We send you this wonderful packet of information that tells you about your accommodations and what's nearby, where's the near grocery store, the metro lines that come close to your accommodations, and everything you need to know. And then lastly, 1 week before your departure, our China teams will get in touch with you, and they will let you know about how airport pickup's going to go, where you can find them, and if your flight's running late, who do you call, and what information do you need in order to get to the accommodations. And then you're off to China. Your placement, like we said, will typically come about 3 to 8 weeks before your start date, or on average about 6 weeks before. Shortly after that, your visa will be finalized, and then you're into China. So here's some wonderful pictures from our website. Beijing on the lower left here, Shanghai in the upper right, Shanghai here on the right side, Shenzhen up here in the middle area as well. So that is really about our placement process. I know we do have the opportunity for some Q&As. We do also encourage you guys to connect with us via our different social media websites. But let's head over to our question and answer area of the website, so you guys can ask us some questions. Let me just get this up and running for you here. Just one moment. All right, sorry about that, guys. We're trying to get the Q&A enabled, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work for today. So we'll just kind of go through some of the questions that we typically get asked by participants. You guys are always encouraged to shoot us an email if you are able to. You can put your comment box. You can comment on the box on the Google Plus if you'd like, and we can send them to, and our teams and our tech side will send them to me via Skype. So go ahead and write down in the comment box below some of your questions, and we'll get those Skyped over to me so I can get those answered for you. But in the meantime, what we can do is I'll answer some of the questions that I typically get when I'm interviewing students. Since I've been here, I've probably interviewed well over 1,500 people for the program. So one of the biggest questions that we get is students wanting to do this program for credit. So they ask, can we do this for credit? Can you help us out? Can we get credit from you, or how do we go about doing that? Well, CRCC Asia is not an academic institution, so we are not able to award you credit. However, we do work with hundreds of students every year to work with your home institution to get credit from your home school. So what we do is we really encourage you to first off ask your super academic advisor, what steps and what information that you need, and then we can help provide that documentation to you. From there, if your supervisor needs to do evaluations while you're on the program, we'll be sure to meet with your supervisor prior to your internship to ensure that you do get those supervisor evaluations completed. Majority of the students that participate on our program do try to do the program for credit, and most of them are very successful in receiving credit from their home programs. Another big question we get is, do I get to pick my host company? Kind of touched on that during the interview or during the presentation. The biggest thing that we tell students is, during your interview is really your time to tell us about your interest and what you're interested in and what your goals are and your career opportunities and your career aspirations are. So we take that information and we use our professional opinion and our information that we've collected to pick the best internship available to you. So you do have quite a large say in the host company that you get, and the fact that you provide us with the information that you are interested in, and we use that to create a profile to best place you. Another one is, do I have to interview as well with my host company? A lot of students are always interested in that. So what we tell students is, right now, I would say from my experience, and this is in the US and Canada and South America, about 10 to 15% of students will interview with a host company. Most of the companies that we've worked with for a while. They know about our interview process, and they are really great with knowing, that we've asked all the questions they're going to want. And so when we approach them with a great student for their company, they're very confident in the information that we've provided them, and they don't really have a need to interview you. If an interview is needed, it's more than likely it's designed to just learn more about you as an individual and to learn more about your personality and see if you'd be a good fit for the program, because personality is something that's kind of hard to get on paper. You really do need to do a face-to-face kind of Skype interview. And another big one is, can I contact my supervisor prior to arriving in China? That's a really great question. A lot of students are always very interested in this. What we do is we ask, if that is something you want to do, let us know, and we will reach out to that supervisor and let them know that your future intern is really interested in interviewing you or meeting with you prior to your internship. And more often than not, they're very excited. They'd be more than happy to speak with you. But go ahead and let us reach out to that supervisor first, make sure everything's great, find a time that works for you guys so you guys can conduct that conversation. And the next big question, the last kind of big question we get from students is, about the visa processing. It's something that a lot of students have a lot of questions about, and it's so region specific that we really encourage you to have that conversation with your regional office. So I'm going to take you guys over to our screen share here, and I'm going to put up a list of all of our regional offices here at CRCC Asia, and we really encourage you to get in touch with these various offices. So if you live in anywhere in Europe, we really encourage you to talk to the London office. They are our general European office for Europe and Africa. So you can easily get in touch with them by emailing them at london@crccasia.com. Here in North America, we have an office in Pennsylvania, an office in Toronto, and then our office here in San Francisco. Best contact information you can reach us at is sanfrancisco@crccasia.com. Also, if you are located anywhere in Australia or in Asia, you can go ahead and contact our offices in Sydney, and the best contact for them is Sydney@CRCC Asia as well. So what I really encourage you guys to do is if you do have any questions, they can get on our website. We have a live chat available to all of our students. So please go ahead and check that out. We are able to live chat with you 24 hours a day, generally Monday through Friday. Our office is international, all team up to work on that. And also make sure you're around for our next webinar series. We've got our next one is what kind of companies do we work with? That's the one we're doing here today, our placement process. Then we have our life in China as a foreigner coming up next month. And then also top 10 networking tips for our working in China. So once again, I really encourage you to connect with us through our global offices. Also hop on over to our live chat on our website at crccasia.com. And if you have any questions, contact that regional office. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And thanks for hanging out with us today on this Google webinar. Have a good one.